Alright, which one of these is getting a review today? Maybe... Fine, everybody's coming along. Hello, and welcome to Plebpla. This is another triannual, and that is the word that I've learned for this video, a triannual review of the kits I've built in the second third of the year between May and August. A lot of these you probably recognize from past reviews because it was about, I think, about the end of May that I started actually doing reviews. And it wasn't until July that I actually started, putting in the work because of the biggest of boys. So, in this first video, we'll talk about this side of our table here, my right, your left. And in the second half, we will talk about the opposite side of the table. Some of these I built completely off screen. One of these I built on camera exclusively. So, without further ado, we will begin well and far over here. I'm not going to bother doing any zooming or editing, or maybe I will edit, we'll see. This is the CeraV Gundam Scheherazade. I actually went through the time to look up what the name was. Like, what is Scheherazade? And I've already forgotten since I looked it up. It's fine. It's another one of those mythos things from the Middle East, I think. Don't quote me on that, that's a terrible idea. So, I got this, and this is mostly what the video will be about. A lot of story time, a little bit of review, and my stammering. Plenty of that. The CeraV Gundam Scheherazade I got because it's got a really neat gimmick, and it's mostly in its backpack itself, the Ptolemaeo arms. Just the fact that the entire Ptolemaeo arms is, remade in kit form, and I don't think that there is a kit for the Ptolemy like there are of some of the other battleships. So it's got some pretty decent articulation, even considering that the base is the old CeraV Gundam. The part that is the coolest are the extensions here that go from Ifrit to Jin mode, both of which are, good old gaseous monsters or creatures, again, from more Middle Eastern mythologies. We know Jinns, we know Ifrits, we know Ifrit of Final Fantasy. And that's kind of where the name comes from, but that's not this kind of story time. It has the gimmick of transforming with the backpack, that even with the backpack, you don't get that for other kits, because you're not going to have compatible foot extensions here. And the backpack just works out really great. This, rather than doing a review on this, I built this during when I rediscovered that a local a local toy store had a weekly build night where you just go hang out and build for about 4 hours or so. And I built this after 2 visits. The first time forgetting that it existed, the second one, luck. Next on the prices, right, is the Hama Hama. I've been a sort of fan of this mobile suit for a while. Not any particular reason due to the design or Maschmeyer himself, but because we have a local arcade here called Arcade UFO, and that's got the old sit-down style Japanese arcade cabinets, and it used to have Gundam vs. Gundam Next on there. And this was one of my main 3 suits, the Hama Hama. The shield acted on the wire guide. You could hit people from behind. They fumbled a whole lot. It was a good time. But this particular kit I bought at the beginning of the year, the day after our ZEON group won Best in Show at IkiCon 2018. So this is kind of like, yeah, we won. I don't get a piece of the trophy, so I'll have my own trophy itself. I don't have any problems with the kit, except the same problem that I hear from like half the people who own it. It is incredibly top heavy. Like, it's not just my build. There's the legs and the knees, which like to give out when you stand this on its feet. It'll tip one way or the other depending on how you have it stood. But I always put my boys on an action base, so there's that. Boop. I had to obey my thirst. That, and you don't want a terrible coughing fit on camera. That's rude. So, resuming, we have the Musha Teki Master Zeta Gundam. He was part of his own review not too long ago when I reviewed basically all of my SD kits. So, check that out for talking about this boy. He was a lucky find at a local toy hobby shop, because you don't really see a whole lot of like older kits in regular hobby stores, at least not to my experience. It's always that weird middle ground of stuff they've had in stock for 5 years, and then 2 months late after what's new. But having this, I appreciated seeing this, so I gave it a nice good home. Stick him back in there. And following that is the other SD on this side of the screen, the Guan Yu Gundam. Again, he had his own review and a speed build to go with it. Hobby Search had a sale, and in that sale list one day was the Diao Chen Quebli, the new 2018 remake. And seeing that, I picked that up for the Queen of Space as well as Guan Yu himself. One of these days I'll pick up the other Guan Yu, the other two, because they upgrade. And I do believe his beard upgrades too. But check out that video for more about that kit itself. Nextly is a Zaku that I'm going to have many complaints about, and not because of action bases. The action base issue, that's pretty normal. The problem that I have with this particular kit isn't the P-Bandai variant, it's not the colors, it's not even the articulation. I'm getting tired of the Origin line having to use these like proprietary action-based connectors. This is swabbled and fallen off of its connector so many times that the connector itself is already showing some wear, and it doesn't stick, which you saw as easily as just popped right off. I really hate these things, so I might actually go and grab one of the hooked U slots, whatever you want to call those, to mount this on here. However, I am a fan of this kit's artillery. The under grip guns are new and unique to me. I don't see any other kits around that have something like this, except maybe like an older wing kit, the Serpent and the heavy arms, but those are like dual grip Gatlings. They're still different, but it's a weapon that's like an undermount. I like that for some reason. So it's so rare. And then it's got a lot of like variation on all of, what combination of this gun and that gun do you really want to have on here. You can kind of mix and match. It's a good time. It's a real good time. This I also picked up at the same convention as the Hama Hama, but simply because this is something I wanted as soon as I saw it out and it was right there. I may have overpaid though, because convention markup. And lastly, in this video, on this half of the world, we will speak of the Grandpa's Gundam, Mr. RX-78. You may have seen the thing that I have been fondling in my hand most of the video. But first, this is the RX-78-2 Gunpla Starter Set Volume 2. Volume 1, I fathom, is Char Zaku. The same toy store where I picked up the the same toy store where I picked up the Scheherazade was holding a Gunpla 101, and I always feel that despite how many almost 200 kits that I've built in this phase 2 of my Gunpla career, I can always improve. I don't paint, I rarely paint a line, and this is something that maybe I can learn something new. maybe I can, put on the next level of big boy pants and start panel lining more. And I could. I really could if I wanted to. The box itself comes with the kit. It even comes with a gray panel lining marker, which is one that I didn't have before. And now I have a black and a gray, and it's very neat. I think I use mostly the black on this though, but every little detail on this kit has been panel lined, except for a few down here in the feet. But I believe this particular one was molded in such a way that it's got more little, lines and panel lines and details than the regular, like even the Revive RX-78. But don't quote me on that again. I don't know. I don't fact check that one. There is one thing it does outside of all the other high-grade Grandpa Gundams. It's only the Master Grades that I've ever seen is the Gundam Hammer. I've always wanted a Gundam Hammer, and the only time I ever got another one was in the high-grade Astrea Type F, and even then that's on a wire. This is an actual metal chain. It's not plastic. Sure, the ends are plastic, but the chain is metal, and that makes it incredibly unique. But with that, I never know how to close these off. I always go with the "but with that" or "with that said." I don't have a catchphrase for Gunpla, and I feel like that's a terrible transition into an ending. But this will transition into next week's review, where we will cover the other half of the table, and one that's currently not depicted. We'll see y'all next week. ZEON.